Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver, the premier edition of Your Next Favorite Driver, right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me tonight, and we have a great episode lined up for you. For those of you that have never seen Your Next Favorite Driver before, which at this point is everybody, this is a show to introduce you to young up-and-coming drivers that you may not have heard of yet. So, drivers in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, the Camping World Truck Series, ARCA, K&N Pro Series East and West, Indy Lights, lower series in dirt racing. Just anybody that is up-and-coming that could be a big name in the coming years. We want to introduce them to you first so you can have an opinion on them before they get to that top level of racing, and they just might be your next favorite driver. That is what we are hoping. Tonight we have Christian Eckes, driver for Venturini Motorsports in the ARCA Racing Series. 17 years old, very talented young man. Ran a limited schedule last season for Venturini in ARCA, running 15 races this year. Every race that he is allowed to race on. He can't race on anything 2 miles and over until he's 18, so he's running every other race besides that this season. Made his first start of the season this past weekend at Fairground Speedway in Nashville. Started 9th, finished 8th. So we'll talk to him about that and then get into the questions about introducing him to you. So without further ado, let's go to my chat with Christian, and we will see if he becomes your next favorite driver. And we are now joined by Christian Eckes. You can't see him, but you can hear him. Driver of the number 15 JBL Toyota for Venturini Motorsports in the ARCA Racing Series. Today on Your Next Favorite Driver. Christian, how are you today?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. Always great to get to talk to guys like yourself and introduce them to people. This may be the first time we're doing it, but there will be lots more like this in the future for folks, and we hope that Christian might be your next favorite driver after this show. So, Christian, we're going to start off here since it's fresh in everyone's minds, talking about Nashville this past weekend. You qualified 9th, finished 8th, fairly solid night. Just talk us through your night here real quick.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I think we just missed it. Top 10's good. Top 10 start spot, top 10 finish. It's just, us and all my guys, we're looking for more than that. We definitely had a little bit better mindset going into the weekend. We just unfortunately really couldn't get the car that we really wanted to all weekend, during practice. I really just didn't do a good enough job getting it to good enough so I could race it. That ended up biting us, but I learned a lot from it, and we're ready to go to Salem and hopefully not have that to happen again.
All right, now let's get into your background a little bit here, and we'll start off with how did you get started in racing? Everybody's got a story of how they got into racing. What is your story?
Actually, it's kind of funny. My one dad's friend actually raced a little bit, and we saw these little Bandolero cars running around, and we were like, oh, that might be a little fun. So I got in one and I tested it for a couple times. I was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. It actually, it's something I'd love to do. And, we ended up buying one, and then we just kind of went from there, and it's been a whirlwind since. And, I fell in love when I was 9, and I'm still in love with the sport. And, I'd never want to do anything else.
So you're only 17 years old, so you're not what most people would consider a seasoned veteran, but you do have some years of racing behind you. What would you consider your biggest accomplishments to this point?
I got a few actually. The end of 2016, we actually got a couple big wins. I won the Snowball Derby, then I won the Myrtle Beach 400. So it was really cool to win those, and basically, actually, I won a race in between that, the Thanksgiving Classic. So it was a 3-win stretch at the end of the year that But yeah, I definitely say that those three were my biggest accomplishments, and just to be in the ARCA Racing Series alone, and just everything, it's a huge accomplishment as well, and I'm glad to be there.
So now that you're in the ARCA Racing Series, you're driving for Venturini Motorsports, arguably the biggest team in the series. So what is your story? How did you get hooked up with such a historic team as Venturini Motorsports?
Actually, I was actually teammates with William Byron in Legend Cars. God, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And we were good friends with them. And William had started running, K&N and ARCA and stuff like that. And he was at the end of his big car, I guess you could say, career with those cars. And um, he raced for Venturini Motorsports, and we were looking to move up from, because at the time I was running late models. And we were looking to make that next jump. And I actually got to meet with Billy in 2015, and then he was really happy with what he saw when we tested and stuff. So I was able to run a couple races then, and then it's just gone from there. I ran 10 races last year, and then I'm on schedule for 13, everything I can run this year. So it's been a lot of fun. I have a lot of respect for all the Venturinis and what they've done for me. And if I was to go back and go to any other team, I wouldn't.
So now you're only 17 years old, so you're still very early in your career. Where do you see yourself in 10 years when you're 27?
Hopefully I'll be in the top three series. It's my ultimate goal to get to the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. But at the same aspect, I just got to take it one step at a time, use all the opportunities I can to, further myself to the next level.
Okay, so lastly here, before we wrap up with you, Christian, just tell us one cool thing about you that most people don't know.
I'm a huge dog lover. I'm actually trying to get a dog right now. Unfortunately, my dog died about a year ago, and I haven't had a dog since, and it's just been killing me. So I got to go get one here shortly.
All right, well, there you have it. Christian Eckes is a dog lover. So that will, I think, just about do it for us today. Christian, thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we've been able to expose you to a few more fans that may not have known you before now.
Thanks.
All right, those Christian Eckes, driver of the number 15 JBL Toyota for Venturini Motorsports, and we'll be back on your next favorite driver here in just a moment. Stick with us. And we want to thank Christian Eckes again for coming on tonight. Unfortunately, as you could tell, we couldn't get his camera working for some reason, but we did have the audio, and that's the important part. So we're still able to bring our chat with him to you, and hopefully you were able to still form an opinion on him and decide for yourself if he's going to be your next favorite driver. Thank you for joining us tonight. As always, it has been my pleasure, as always, to bring this to you. Don't forget to subscribe to Racing News Now for more Your Next Favorite Driver, as well as more racing content from all corners of the world. Hit that like button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. And don't forget to support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/racingnewsnow. It's the only way we can continue to better our content and continue to give you quality content into the future. So with that, this is your next favorite driver, introducing tomorrow's stars to you now. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.